Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you for spending your time with me. Me and my team do everything that so you could get the value from watching these videos. It's educational content. And today we're going to talk about why Wall Street is doing what they're doing, pretty much digging into American homes. It's pretty much circulating everywhere nowadays that a home crash could happen as it happened in 2007. I'll watch this video till the end and explain why, in my opinion, it would not happen. What is different this time? And first of all, let me start with, as an immigrant, I could not understand why people do not Wall Street. When you're not living in the United States, you don't see day-to-day living here. People in other countries, they think that people here don't really work hard. They just get handed everything to them, and I think it's kind of easier, to be honest, to live in the United States in comparing to most of the countries in the other parts of the world where people just struggle to put the food on the table. After living certain time here in the United States, I started to understand why people hate Wall Street, and the main reason is that the people in Wall Street do not produce nothing. They just trade paper and make crazy money and live a decent life, and most of them are not decent people. They are manipulating the market, they're manipulating the companies. There were a couple Hollywood movies about that, specifically the one that's called Wall Street. Pretty much explained everything, how it works, how the system works from inside. There's an interesting quote I've heard about that, stating that pretty much what happens when the company goes public, the company gets a license to print money. And that's a kind of true, because as a shareholder, shares worth money, and whoever owns the company, they get to print as much shares as they want to, pretty much, and that's a license to print money. Of course, there are many factors. I like the saying by Jeff Bezos stating that the price of the shares doesn't show the real value of the company. I totally agree with them. They are pretty much speculative. They go up and down according to the news. In my opinion, the best thing you could do with shares is just to buy and hold, because they will eventually go up, especially companies like Amazon, Tesla, Apple, Google, Facebook, the strongest companies in America. Now, are they evil? I don't think that they're as evil as they are being described, because they're part of economy. We have to realize that American economy is based on the spending. It's a consumer economy. When economy is doing good, it is because people are spending money. There's a kind of middle class, and when economy is doing bad, it's because people are not spending money. That's pretty much as simple as it could get. Of course, there's a huge, if you don't know, if I'm not mistaken, the 25% of overall American budget is going to the military industrial complex. That's why America constantly is involved in different wars. And in my opinion, that should change. That's just not sustainable. Otherwise, it will just be the matter of time before American economy will collapse. Now, what happened in 2007 is really interesting. The Wall Street were trying to dig into the housing market by buying the mortgages. Eventually, they ended up buying crappy mortgages, and eventually people got greedy. The lenders started to approve left and right everyone. People who could not afford the houses, they started to get the houses. Today's situation is completely different. First of all, the market is in lack of inventory as opposed to 2007. The population grew, it keeps growing. There was not much construction since 2007. It was a big lesson and big turnoff for many construction companies. They started to be much more careful. People start to buy and sell much more careful and approve the loans much more carefully. So this situation is completely different. There is no loans as it used to be in 2007. There was no bad loans as it was in 2007. Why it will not happen again is different. The reason why it will not happen again is different from what we had in 2007. The companies like Blackstone, Bridgewater, if you don't know the Ray Dalio, he has a YouTube channel, I believe. Those companies started to invest very heavily into the housing market. Now, you would probably think, hey, wasn't that the same stuff that happened in 2007? And the answer would be no. In 2007, the banks, the investment companies, the hedge funds, and the Wall Street would buy the properties that they would not even actually sell. In 2007, they were buying the loans that they actually never saw. In this time, they're buying the actual real assets, their properties. Of course, they're not buying directly. They're buying through the companies like Invitation Homes, American Homes for Rent. Pretty much the business model is that those little companies, they're not actually little companies, they're huge companies. They buy the properties all around America, rent them out. It turns to the cash flow, but also it appreciates. It also provides the tax benefits. If you don't know, there's a thing called cost segregation. Pretty much what it means, I believe it's from starting from this year, is almost 80% of the structure that you're buying you can write off, and it will be 60% from next year. But overall, it works like you're buying, say, some kind of asset, and the structure on that asset you can just write it off in the first year. It's the only asset, the real estate, that provides three benefits at the same time. It provides depreciation, it appreciates, it also provides a cash flow. That's much more safer than stocks, because it will not drop down in overnight in the price, and even if it will drop down, it will still cash flow. That is probably the reason they are being smarter this time. However, I think overall it's not a good thing that the Wall Street companies are buying real estate, because it pretty much steals from the average buyer on the market. Could that cause an inflation in the real estate market? Yes and no. First of all, because they're not buying as crazy as you guys might think. They're buying, I want to say, like, out of every probably 5,000-6,000 houses, only one house is being bought by those companies. That's also not a small portion. Now, overall, there's a lack of inventory. The amount of the houses in the market is very different from what it was pre-COVID, guys. What happens is that because there are not enough houses, people keep outbidding each other, and that's pretty much pump up the price of the houses. However, with the rates going crazy, I believe last week it was somewhere around 8, the prices started to, I wouldn't say that they're dropping, but they're not going up as crazy as they used to be. Of course, there are here and there you get the homes that are going up in the price as if there would be end of the world tomorrow. The market starting to normalize. My prediction is that there would not be a crash because of several reasons that I mentioned here. The Wall Street guys are very smart guys. They know what they're doing. If they're investing in real estate market, then it makes sense to reinvest in real estate market. As I said, because of several benefits. I can guarantee you that any house you would see in the market that were, say, 500,000, 600,000, 1 million will double in price in the next 5-6 years. Why? Because about 40% of all money printed in the history of the United States was printed during COVID years. With all these rates, with all crisis in economy and everything, there is just no way for the real estate prices not to double. Several reasons. Again, first of all, there's just a crazy amount of money. Second, the population keeps growing. And third, if you've never been outside of the United States, just travel to any country, you will see the line of the people that wants to come here. That's just crazy investment. Also, I will tell you another interesting thing. I was watching to one of the fellow YouTubers that is also investing in real estate, and I just found out that there are actually funds in China and in Israel that are investing in the real estate in American market. They don't really care about the price. Now, considering this fact, I think that the Wall Street is better to compete with against those guys, because they at least care about the price that they pay for the real estate. But again, I would definitely recommend you guys to buy the house right now as fast as you can. Even if you would not qualify, there are loans that could help you. You could have someone sign for you. You could do many things. You could come up with a down payment, but just buy a cheap house. There are houses in the market for 25,000, for 30,000. I had a video about one of those houses in California in my channel. Anyways, guys, if you find a value in this video, I would really appreciate if you would smash that like button. I know you guys, some of you guys actually are watching the videos and not subscribed to the channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you and have a good one.
You know, I had a fund from like 3 or 4 companies ago, and in the hedge fund business, it's to be frank, it's kind of an awful business, and it's a business that almost like, I think half of all top hedge funds have basically been closed down for legal reasons. Many hedge fund managers have gone to prison. It's a dangerous job. You are the symbolism of wealth. Like, you are literally not making any product. You are taking information and manpower and converting some pile of money into a bigger pile of money. Right. And it's really, if there's anything in life that symbolizes greed and excess, and I don't necessarily believe this, but from the outside perspective, hedge funds are it. And so it's not hard to sort of point a finger at a hedge fund and say there's some fraud here, or there's some transaction that I didn't like that wasn't disclosed properly. And this is why hedge funds are like half compliance departments these days. Yeah. But they don't even care about the return anymore. They care about the compliance, because it's such a dangerous business.